When our friends at ASUS reached out and wanted to sponsor a video on a mystery laptop, I figured let's do this old school. I'm not gonna yell at the camera. I'm not gonna jump up and down. I may end up on the table at some point, but if it's so, it's gonna be very organic and authentic to the story. I'm gonna go in completely blind to see what the deal is and show you my reviewing chops to see if I know what I'm talking about. All right, ASUS, show me your incredible within. Such a bad slogan. Incredible within.
The power within.
The power within. My first impression, I think they're going for like eco-friendly. Look, even like the tape that holds it together is like paper tape. There's no plastic or anything that's seen whatsoever so far. So it is a ZenBook and we have accessories. So we have a laptop sleeve. We have the box for the laptop itself.
Why are you talking so low?
I just want to be calm and reasonable.
Incredible comes from within, but your voice certainly doesn't sound like it.
Okay, don't get me upset, Ken. Oh, what kind of laptop do you have? You'll never guess. The ZenBook S13. Oh, how convenient. All the specs I need. I'm not gonna look at that because that's cheating. This bag is made from plant fibers and is 100% recyclable. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna yell. I'm not gonna yell. It's like a matte finish. This is gonna be a really bad way of describing it. Almost like a stone kind of texture to it. But you've got these like sort of silver lines that kind of split it all up. That is so nice. Also, this is like stupid thin. Like, I don't know what it actually weighs, but it is so small. And we've got ports. We've got two, I assume, Thunderbolt ports. We've got a full-size HDMI, and we've got even a USB-A and the headphone jack. Let's see what this laptop is all about, because I am absolutely loving that material on the outside.
It's called plasma ceramic aluminum.
Plasma ceramic aluminum?
It's a unique manufacturing process. They use only water and electricity, no chemicals at all.
Neat. There's a huge amount of emissions and chemicals and stuff that go into creating these devices. So if there's ways to make really unique looking finishes and without having to use anything more than water and electricity, I'm out here for it. That looks legitimately really cool. I've been helpfully gifted a pair of digital calipers. It is just over 10 millimeters. So that is an incredibly thin device. Let's see what this weighs. Slightly above 1 kilogram.
I can't hear you.
I'm not always like this, Ken! Sometimes I can have a reasonable and calm conversation about technologies that I'm really passionate about.
Well, now you've done it. You've yelled in the video.
Oh, poop. Yeah, I did. So a bunch of stuff I'm seeing here. First of all, I like this color scheme. So we've got that sort of two-tone. It's kind of like the gray with the darker gray for the keyboard. I like that. That trackpad is absolutely massive for what I assume is a 13-ish display. So it's actually not like a completely laminated piece of glass. So the screen itself is actually slightly inset. So if you look really closely here, you can see there's actually a little bit of a bezel. I actually like that. A lot of laptops these days have a single sheet of glass here, which looks nice. The problem is that you get kind of like grime and whatnot on the keyboard. You'll oftentimes have like keyboard like imprints on your display. We also have a bunch of stuff up top here. So I see a webcam. It looks like, actually no, there's two little cameras there. And it looks like maybe like an IR light or something. So I assume that's for Windows Hello and 2 microphones. No, three microphones? Yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff going on the top of the display. First impressions are solid. Also, it's definitely got the Ergo Lift hinge. So you can see when it's flat, it's quite thin, but when I actually go to open it up, it really kicks it up to the point where you've got significant airflow that's gonna be going on the bottom of this laptop. Oh, okay, that's an OLED. That is an OLED. Yeah, I think it's an OLED. Pretty sure it's an OLED. Okay. Is it a touchscreen? Negative, Ghost Rider. Okay. Look, everyone knows there's only one way to find out if it's a touchscreen, and that's to touch it. The smart move would be to evaluate this and then open it up at the end in case I run into problems. I'm instead going to open it up right now. For a laptop that's putting a lot of emphasis on the eco-sustainability angle of, you know, using lots of recycled materials and whatnot, if you really want to be eco-friendly, you should make it upgradable, so it's not e-waste when something breaks. All right, well, let's see what's inside the S13. Battery, wow, that's a battery with a laptop attached. Okay, I got it. So this is a 63 watt-hour battery, which is very reasonable, especially for a 13-inch laptop. And you can see that they did a lot of engineering to fit this in. So if you're looking at it just from first impressions, this is the motherboard. So you've got yourself dual fans and a couple of heat pipes on the Intel CPU. The RAM is soldered down, which is unfortunate, but is pretty much par for the course for any of these ultra-thin laptops over the last couple of years. But there's actually a lot of stuff going on with the cooling solution. So they've got themselves 2 heat pipes. So one goes here, one goes here. And you've got yourself a little heatsink and these very tiny fans. But based on the design, especially how many blades they have, these are probably gonna move a fair bit of air. And if you look at the other side of the laptop here, you see that this is where they're gonna be intaking, and I assume they're just gonna exhaust out the top here. So I bet you that while this won't be, a powerful gaming or editing laptop, even though it's so thin, especially because the ErgoLift hinge is gonna give this a little bit of extra airflow, I'm gonna take a guess that the performance is gonna be pretty solid. Compared to a lot of very thin and light laptops, which are basically just not even worth opening because there's nothing you could ever do, it does look like you could at the very least upgrade an SSD and quite easily upgrade or swap out your battery and whatnot down the line. Just would have been nice to have some upgradable RAM too to give you a little extra performance. All right, we've got the S13 put back together. Let's evaluate. The first thing I do with every device that I get my hands on, task manager time. Okay, so this is a Core i7-1355U. So that is 2 performance cores and 8 efficiency cores. So as a U-series processor, this is not meant for like super heavy work, but you've got the really fast single threads of those 2 performance cores, which on this boost to 5 gigahertz-ish, if I'm right. And obviously you got the efficiency cores, which are what you're gonna be using the vast majority of the time, but you as the user, this is completely seamless. We've got 32 gigs of 5200 megahertz RAM, very fast, and we've got ourselves a 1 terabyte Samsung SSD. These are all very good specs, as well as of course the Iris Xe graphics. So it is a 2880 by 1800 display. That's nice, and in fact it also has adaptive color. So I'm assuming that one of these sensors up top here is an ambient light sensor, which is nice. Typically the way it works with OLEDs is that they have some pros and cons. So the pros are that they have excellent color accuracy, pretty much perfect contrast, and certainly with this it's very high resolution. But the downsides often are that you don't have a massive amount of brightness. But 550 nits, that's actually plenty bright. A lot of my thoughts so far are based around the idea that this is a fairly premiumly priced laptop. What does this actually cost? Because that's gonna determine a lot. I'm gonna guess $1,300. So this is the ZenBook S13 OLED. Oh, which version is this? Does it say? Where are we at here? The UX 5304V. $13.99. Okay, so but let's actually see though, what do you get for that $13.99? Because that's gonna be a big question here. I have been blocked. I got blocked from the ASUS site. I'm too suspicious. What did I do so suspicious?
Oh, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious.
Is that Austin Evans?
There are definitely some nice features that I'm noticing. So the touchpad is really quite nice. It's large. It also has a really nice click, which it doesn't, it's still like the diving board, so it clicks a lot more on the bottom than the top. But there's a really nice sort of travel to it, and you hear the click. Yeah, so I will say initial impressions are quite nice on the keyboard. It's not loud, which I think for a device like this, I would prefer it to be a little quiet anyway. Considering how thin the device is, there's a surprising amount of key travel. Like, usually I expect a super thin and light device like this to have a pretty shallow click, but I mean, that's, I don't know, I'm not no LTT lab, but I mean, that's a pretty decent amount of key travel there. Let's press the ASUS button. So we've got battery care mode, which limits the battery to 80%. That's great, especially if you're someone who spends a lot of time with your laptop plugged in or plugged into like a dock or whatever the case is. Your battery sitting at 100% for long periods of time is not a good thing. So the fact that you can limit it to 80% is great. We've got fan profiles, which is whisper, standard, and performance. Dynamically maximizes cooling performance for demanding tasks. Okay, but it does not work when you are running on the battery, which, fair enough. AI noise canceling microphone. Aha! We finally found the AI part of the video. So this does have AI noise cancellation. Well, you know I gotta try that, right? Pure first impression, I'm gonna hit the record button, we'll see what it sounds like. So obviously right now you're listening to the microphone on the camera, but if I hit the big red button, now you are hearing me through the microphones on the S13. So this is using the AI omnidirectional mode, although while I'm recording, I'm gonna try to change it to the unidirectional mode. I don't know if that's made any difference, but this is what it sounds like in the unidirectional mode. The unidirectional mode sounds a lot better. So essentially the difference is that the AI processing, it will try to like listen to everything around the room, or it will focus more on you. I would definitely recommend turning that on. Okay, we have a bunch of sound modes. So we have dynamic for Atmos, game, movie, music. Let's do dynamic. Wait, that's actually not bad. I mean, not super rich. but it's a thin, small laptop. But like the highs are actually really quite clear. I'll say speakers are actually pretty decent. Okay, so this is using the Asus AI Sense camera. I'm gonna list you the things that I have as options here. Lighting optimization, background blurring, gaze correction to automatically detect your eyes and make it look like you're staring at the display, motion tracking, and appearance filter to smooth out your skin. All right, so this is an example of what the webcam on the S13 looks like. For a webcam on a laptop, not a lot to complain about. So when you look at a laptop like this, I think it's clear to me that Asus have gone for a couple of main focuses. So the eco-friendly side is certainly a big one. The fact that it is fairly repairable, especially considering how thin and light it is. You get yourself a very solid keyboard, excellent trackpad, good performance, a huge battery, and importantly, you've got some great port selection on a device which is incredibly thin and really quite light. If you want a device that seems like it will really last long term and has an incredibly nice finish that really does stand out, I've got to say, I am pleasantly surprised by the ZenBook S13. And if you'd like to know any more about it, definitely be sure to go check it out, link in the description. Huge thank you to Asus for sponsoring this video. If you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go back to yelling now. I wanna go jump on the table, flop like a fish, and scream about expensive mystery tech, because that's where I'm most comfortable. Subscribe for Austin's quiet tips. Wait, no one wants that. No one wants that.